Welcome, my dear listeners. Before I open the door to my story, I ask just one thing. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments what city you're tuning in from. Your support helps simple stories like mine be heard. Happy listening. That August afternoon in Nashville, the heat hung heavy over Music Row like a velvet curtain. The air shimmered above the asphalt, carrying the mingled scents of hot tar, magnolia blossoms, and the faint, sweet tang of bourbon drifting from open bar doors. But I didn't notice the heat. I was floating on wings made of hope and disbelief, clutching a manila envelope to my chest as if it were the Holy Grail. I'm 69 years old. My name is Loretta Mae Johnson, a retired backup singer who spent 40 years harmonizing behind the legends at the Grand Ole Opry. Until this very afternoon, I believed my life was a collection of faded memories. Yellowed programs, autographed records, and the ache of joints that had stood through 1,000 ovations. But today, everything changed. The envelope contained documents from Harlan Whitaker, the family attorney who'd handled my late husband's estate. My husband, Tommy Johnson, had been a songwriter whose hits were sung by Dolly Parton, George Jones, and Alan Jackson. I'd always known he was successful, but what Harlan revealed made my knees buckle. "Loretta," he'd said, his voice grave as he adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses, "Tommy left you everything. Every royalty check, every publishing right, every copyright. The total value of your husband's catalog is $18.2 million. And that's just the current valuation. With streaming, it's growing every quarter." I walked out of that air-conditioned office onto 16th Avenue South feeling like I'd been handed the keys to Fort Knox. Numbers danced in my head. $18 million. My daughter Tammy had been begging for money to start their music career. Her husband, Ricky, dreamed of being the next Luke Bryan. Now I could help them. I could be more than the mother-in-law who brought over casseroles. I could be their fairy godmother. I turned down Demon Brune Street toward our modest bungalow in East Nashville. The house Tommy and I bought in 1978 still had the original hardwood floors and a porch swing where we'd written love songs under the stars. My daughter and her husband had been living with me for 6 months, ever since Ricky's big break fell through. I'd welcomed them with open arms, turning the guest room into a home studio and letting them use my car whenever they needed it. As I approached our white picket fence, I heard laughter, loud, carefree laughter, coming from the open kitchen window. Tammy's high-pitched giggle mixed with Ricky's deep chuckle. I smiled, imagining their delight when I told them the news. I was already picturing Ricky's face when I offered to fund his first album. Tammy's tears of gratitude when I told her she could finally quit her waitressing job. I paused at the window, wanting to surprise them. The curtains were billowing gently in the breeze, giving me a perfect view of the kitchen. Tammy stood by the counter, wearing one of my old sundresses stretched tight across what I assumed was her growing belly. She was 6 months pregnant, or so she'd told me, and glowed with that special radiance. Ricky leaned against the refrigerator, holding 2 beers. "God, she's such a mark," Tammy was saying, her voice dripping with contempt. She patted her stomach affectionately. "Another month of this act, and she'll sign over the whole damn house. I told her yesterday I need a nursery, that this old place isn't safe for the baby." She practically cried, offering to get a contractor. Ricky laughed, taking a swig of his beer. "You should have seen her face when you showed her that ultrasound picture. Priceless." "Oh, Tammy, my precious grandson." Tammy reached behind her back and unhooked something. My breath caught in my throat as she pulled away a realistic silicone pregnancy belly, the kind sold online for costume parties. She tossed it onto the kitchen table like a dish rag. "Jesus, this thing is heavy," she groaned, rubbing her flat stomach. "I can't wait to ditch this circus. Once we get the deed, we sell this dump, take the money, and head to LA. Real producers, real studios, no more pretending to be grateful to that dried-up old hag." Ricky walked over and wrapped his arms around her waist. "You're a genius, baby. 2 more months maximum. She'll never suspect. And when we're sipping margaritas in Malibu, we'll send her a postcard from the nursery we bought with her money." I stood frozen outside that window, the manila envelope suddenly heavy as lead. The world tilted. $18 million. My husband's legacy. And my own daughter, my flesh and blood, wanted to steal my home for pocket change, laughing at my love, my trust, my naivety. Something inside me snapped. Not with tears or hysterics, but with the cold precision of a steel trap closing. 40 years behind country legends had taught me timing, performance, and most importantly, when to hold and when to fold. They thought I was a mark, a dried-up old hag. Fine. Let them think that. But they forgot one crucial thing about Nashville: every great story has a twist in the bridge. I smoothed my skirt, adjusted my purse, and walked through the front door with the brightest smile I'd worn since Reagan was president. "Mama!" Tammy squealed as I entered the kitchen, her transformation instantaneous. She waddled over, fake belly securely reattached, and hugged me tightly. "You're home early." Ricky appeared behind her, playing the doting husband. "Hey, Mama Loretta. How was your day?" I set the envelope on the counter with deliberate casualness and let my face light up. "Oh, darlings, you won't believe what happened. Sit down. This is big." They exchanged a quick glance, greed flashing in their eyes, and sat at the kitchen table. I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. "I was at the attorney's office," I began, watching their pupils dilate. "Harlan Whitaker. You remember, Tommy's lawyer?" Tammy nodded eagerly, her hand resting protectively on her fake belly. "Well," I continued, drawing out the suspense, "it turns out your daddy was sitting on a gold mine. All those songs he wrote, the royalties, the publishing rights, everything, it's all mine now." Ricky leaned forward. "How much we talking, Mama?" I paused, letting them hang on every word. $18 million, Ricky. 18.2 million. And growing. The silence was glorious. Tammy's mouth literally dropped open. Ricky's beer bottle froze halfway to his lips. For a full 10 seconds, they just stared at me, processing the number. Then Tammy recovered first. "Mama. Oh my God. That's incredible." She threw her arms around me, sobbing with what I assumed was overwhelming joy. Ricky jumped up, pumping his fist. "We're rich. Mama, you hear that? We're gonna make music history." I let them celebrate for exactly 30 seconds before dropping the hammer. "There's just one thing," I said softly, my voice laced with regret. They both froze. "What thing?" Ricky asked warily. I sighed deeply, playing the part of the apologetic messenger. Tommy was old-fashioned about family. He put a clause in his will. The money, the whole estate, goes into a trust. And the trust only releases the funds when... Tammy's eyes narrowed. "When what, Mama?" I leaned forward, lowering my voice to a confidential whisper. "When our grandson is born." Ricky blinked. "Grandson?" I nodded solemnly. Tommy wanted a male heir to carry on the Johnson name. The trust documents are very specific. Only upon the birth of a direct male descendant will the funds transfer to me and my immediate family. Tammy's face drained of color. Ricky's mouth worked silently for a moment. But what if it's a girl?" I spread my hands helplessly. "Then the money stays locked until Tammy has another child. Could be years." Tommy was adamant about the bloodline. Tammy clutched her fake belly, genuine panic in her eyes. But I'm due in 3 months. What if?" I patted her hand gently. Now, sugar. Everything's going to be fine. You're carrying a strong Johnson boy, I can feel it. 3 months from now, we'll be millionaires. All of us." Ricky forced a smile, but I saw the calculation behind his eyes. "Right. 3 months. We can wait." "Perfect." I clapped my hands together. "Let's celebrate. I'll make my special fried chicken. Ricky, you get some champagne, the non-alcoholic kind for Tammy." As I bustled around the kitchen, I heard their urgent whispers from the dining room. "What the hell, Ricky?" Tammy hissed. "A grandson. What if they do a DNA test?" "Relax," Ricky whispered back. "We just need to produce some kid. Buy one, borrow one, whatever. 3 months, we show up with a baby boy, sign the papers, then ditch the brat. Easy money." I smiled to myself as I seasoned the chicken. The hook was set. Now came the reeling in. That night, as they slept upstairs dreaming of millions, I sat at Tommy's old desk in the study, making phone calls. My first call was to Harlan Whitaker. Harlan, it's Loretta. I need your help with something. Creative. By morning, I had a plan. Harlan agreed to play along with the trust story. It was mostly true anyway, just with different conditions. My second call was to my old friend Marianne, a costume designer who'd worked Opry shows for decades. Marianne, darling, I need the most realistic baby props money can buy. And I need them yesterday. Third call, Dr. Evelyn Carter, the top OB-GYN at Vanderbilt who owed me a favor from when I'd sung at her daughter's wedding. Evelyn, I need you to make some house calls. Very discreet house calls. By noon, my trap was taking shape. When Tammy waddled downstairs, I was waiting with a smile and a proposition. Tammy darling, I've been thinking. With all this money coming, we need to protect that baby. Starting today, I'm hiring the best prenatal care money can buy. Dr. Carter will be doing weekly examinations right here. Tammy paled. Weekly? That's a lot. Nonsense. I waved her off. Tommy's heir deserves the best. And starting tomorrow, we're on a special prenatal diet. No more takeout, no more beer for Ricky. The baby needs nutrients. Ricky groaned from the couch where he was nursing a hangover. Mama, come on. I fixed him with a steely glare. You want those millions or not? Because I can always donate it all to the Grand Ole Opry Foundation. That shut them up. The next 3 weeks were delicious torture. I turned our home into Fort Baby. The kitchen became a laboratory of organic purees, vitamin supplements, and herbal teas that smelled like lawn clippings. Tammy gagged over bowls of wheatgrass smoothies while I reminded her, think of the millions, sugar. Ricky fared no better. From now on, you're on baby duty, I declared. No more sleeping in. You'll be reading to the baby every night. Tommy swore by it. And daytime. You'll be massaging Tammy's feet and playing Mozart. But Mama. Or would you prefer flipping burgers at Cracker Barrel for the next 3 months? He chose Mozart. Dr. Evelyn's first house call was a masterpiece. Dressed in a white coat with a stethoscope and armed with a fake ultrasound machine, courtesy of Marianne, she examined Tammy with professional seriousness. Everything looks excellent, Evelyn announced, packing up her equipment. Strong heartbeat. Perfect growth. But I will need weekly blood work to monitor hormone levels. It's standard procedure for high-value estates. Tammy's eyes widened. Blood work. Required by the trust, I interjected smoothly. Tommy was very specific about genetic health. As Evelyn left, I caught Tammy's panicked whisper to Ricky. They'll find out there's no baby. We need a plan B. I smiled into my coffee cup. Perfect. By week 5, cracks were showing. Tammy had lost 5 pounds from my nutrient-dense meals, and the fake belly chafed her skin raw. Ricky's eyes had permanent bags from nightly fetal development readings. But the greed kept them going. Every mention of 18 million was like a shot of adrenaline. Their late-night strategy sessions grew increasingly desperate. I'd pretend to sleep and listen at the heating vent. We need a baby, Ricky. A real one. Where the hell am I gonna get a baby in 2 months? There's websites. People sell them. Or we could, find one that's not wanted. I'd bite my tongue until it bled. Human trafficking. My own daughter. One evening, I upped the ante. I've been thinking, I announced over dinner. We need to document this pregnancy properly. For the trust. Starting tomorrow, we're doing professional pregnancy photos. And I've hired a documentary crew to follow the journey of Tommy's heir. Tammy dropped her fork. A film crew. The best in Nashville, I said brightly. Think about it. When little Tommy Jr. is born, we'll have a beautiful record of his journey. And it'll make the perfect pitch for Ricky's music career. Ricky perked up at that. Film crew, huh? Like, professional. The very best, I assured him. They start Monday. That night, their whispers turned to shouts. A film crew. Are you insane? Relax. It's perfect exposure. When we reveal the baby, it'll go viral. But what if they want close-ups? What if they touch the belly? Then you smile and say the baby was kicking. I smiled in the darkness. The noose was tightening. The morning of the pregnancy photoshoot, I dropped another bomb. Change of plans, darlings. The photographer had to reschedule, but I got us something better. Way better. Tammy eyed me warily as she adjusted her maternity top over the fake belly. Better how? I beamed. The Grand Ole Opry wants to do a special segment. Legacy of a legend, the Johnson heir. Live audience, national television, the works. Ricky's eyes lit up. The Opry. For real? For real, I said. They're sending a full crew. Red carpet entrance, dressing rooms, everything. Tommy would be so proud. Tammy looked like she might throw up her wheatgrass smoothie. Live. On television. Think of the exposure. Ricky enthused, already picturing his close-up. This is it, baby. Our big break. The car ride to the Opry was silent torture. Tammy clutched her belly like a life preserver. Ricky practiced his smile in the rearview mirror. I hummed Will the Circle Be Unbroken, perfectly calm. We arrived to actual red carpet treatment. Real crew members, I'd hired an actual production company, swarmed us with lights, cameras, microphones. A makeup artist fussed over Tammy while a stylist adjusted Ricky's bolo tie. Places everyone, called the director. We'll live in T-5 minutes. The stage was magnificent. Polished wood, circle of blue, ghosts of legends in every corner. 500 expectant faces filled the auditorium. Network cameras beamed the feed to 1 million homes. Tommy would have loved it. Tammy waddled on stage, beaming nervously. Ricky stood proudly beside her. I took my place in the front row, heart pounding, not with nerves, but anticipation. Ladies and gentlemen, boomed the announcer. Tonight we celebrate legacy. Please welcome the woman who harmonized with country music royalty. Miss Loretta Mae Johnson. The crowd erupted as I walked on stage to thunderous applause. For a moment, I was 29 again, hitting that perfect harmony with Emmylou Harris. Then I introduced my family. And now, I said, voice thick with emotion, my daughter Tammy and her husband Ricky, expecting my first grandchild, Tommy's heir. More applause. Tammy waved weakly. Ricky flashed his 1,000-watt smile. We're here tonight, I continued, because tomorrow, my daughter enters her 3rd trimester. And with it comes the release of my husband's $18 million estate, a legacy for generations to come. The crowd gasped, then cheered. Tammy looked ready to bolt. Ricky was calculating potential endorsement deals. But first, I said, we have a very special guest. The man who produced more #1 hits than anyone in Nashville history. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harlan Whitaker. The real Harlan strode on stage to wild applause, guitar in hand. He hugged me, then turned to the crowd. Tonight, he announced, we're not just celebrating a pregnancy. We're celebrating family. And what better way than with music? He handed the microphone to Ricky. Son, why don't you show Nashville what you've got? Sing for your unborn son. The crowd cheered. Ricky, blinded by the spotlight, grabbed the mic eagerly. Tammy's eyes darted toward the exit. Ricky launched into his signature song, a derivative piece of crap about pickup trucks and cold beer. The crowd listened politely for about 30 seconds. Then the booze started. He kept going, sweat beading on his forehead. Tammy tried to smile supportively. I watched, stone-faced. When Ricky finally finished to scattered claps and loud heckling, Harlan took the mic back. That was enthusiastic, he said diplomatically. But Loretta tells me we have something even more special tonight. He gestured to stage left. Dr. Evelyn Carter walked out, pushing an ultrasound machine. The trust requires medical verification, Harlan explained. Before we can celebrate this pregnancy, we need to confirm everything is healthy. Tammy's knees buckled. Ricky turned grey. The crowd leaned forward eagerly. Dr. Carter will perform a live ultrasound, Harlan announced. Right here, right now, for all of America to see. The audience roared approval. Tammy backed away, shaking her head frantically. I don't think that's, she stammered. Nonsense. I said brightly, taking her arm. It's tradition. Tommy's tradition. Security guards materialized from the wings, real ones this time, and gently but firmly escorted Tammy to a chair center stage. The ultrasound technician, another hired professional, lifted Tammy's shirt and applied gel to the fake belly. The crowd held its collective breath as the technician moved the wand over the silicone mound. She frowned. Moved it again. Frowned deeper. The giant screen above us showed nothing but black static. Strange, the technician said loudly. I'm not getting a fetal heartbeat. The crowd murmured. Tammy whimpered. Let me try a different angle, the technician said. She pressed harder. And then it happened. The fake belly, sweaty from nerves and hours of wear, slipped. Just an inch. But enough. The technician's hand connected with the edge of the silicone prop. There was a sickening *rip* as the adhesive gave way. The entire fake pregnancy slid down Tammy's torso and hit the stage with a wet * plop star. 500 people, and 1 million television viewers, saw everything. The silicone belly lay there, exposed and ridiculous, with its internal padding and straps clearly visible. Tammy sat frozen, shirt still lifted, her flat, unremarkable stomach on display for the world. The auditorium exploded. Some people screamed. Others laughed hysterically. A few started chanting fake. 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 Ricky stood rooted to the spot, mouth agape. Tammy buried her face in her hands, sobbing. I stepped forward, microphone in hand, as security restrained Ricky from fleeing. Ladies and gentlemen, I said into the stunned silence, this is not a pregnancy. This is a performance. And not a very good one. The crowd roared approval. For months, I continued, my daughter and her husband have lied to me, manipulated me, and tried to steal my home. They faked this pregnancy to coerce me into signing over property rights. But tonight, the truth comes out. The fallout was swift and spectacular. By morning, #fake Oprah baby was trending worldwide. TMZ had exclusive footage. The Tennessean ran the headline, *** country music scandal, fake pregnancy exposed live on Grand Ole Opry stage. ***. Tammy and Ricky spent the night in a holding cell on charges of attempted fraud and making false claims to inherit property. Their public defender advised them to plead guilty when the real evidence came out. I sat in my kitchen, sipping coffee, as Harlan walked me through the real numbers. No debts, Loretta, he said, sliding documents across the table. Tommy's estate is worth $22.4 million now, with royalties coming in daily. The trust conditions you invented worked perfectly. I nodded, signing the final papers. And the Opry? Harlan grinned. They want to make you an official member. Permanent spot, every Saturday night. Said it was the highest-rated segment in 10 years. I laughed, a real, belly-deep laugh for the first time in months. 6 months later, I stood backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, waiting for my cue. The crowd roar was deafening. My new single, Truth in the Bridge, had gone platinum. The video, featuring actual footage from that fateful night, had 50 million views. As I walked on stage in a crimson gown, spotlight bathing me in golden light, I saw them in the front row, Tammy and Ricky. Not as family, but as cautionary tales. Tammy had cut her hair short and wore no makeup, a far cry from the glamorous liar who'd pranced across my stage. Ricky's bolo tie was replaced by a janitor's uniform. Court-mandated community service at the Opry. Poetic justice. I took the microphone, and the crowd fell silent. This song, I said, is for every mother who's ever been called naive. Every woman who's ever been underestimated. Every person who's ever had their trust betrayed. The steel guitar began the familiar twang. I closed my eyes, hearing Tommy's voice in harmony. * you can fake a smile, you can fake a tear *. * you can fake a pregnancy, year after year *. Asterisk, but you can't fake the truth when the bridge comes round. Asterisk. Asterisk, and the whole world's watching, hearing every sound. Asterisk. As I hit the high note, the crowd leaped to their feet. In that moment, I wasn't just Loretta Mae Johnson, backup singer turned millionaire. I was a force of nature. An icon. A survivor. And somewhere, I knew Tommy was smiling. And so ends the story of Loretta Mae Johnson. A story of betrayal transformed into triumph, lies exposed by truth, and a mother's love hardened into unbreakable steel. Many of you are probably wrestling with the same question I faced. Should blood always be thicker than justice? Could I have forgiven my daughter? Should I have given Ricky another chance? I did what I had to do. Not out of cruelty, but clarity. Some lessons can only be learned when the stakes are real and the consequences unavoidable. What would you have done, dear listener? Could you watch your child lie to your face, plot to steal your legacy, and still open your door to them? Or did I teach them the greatest gift of all, the harsh but necessary truth that actions have consequences? I read every comment, every message. Your stories strengthen me, just as mine hopefully strengthen you. Life writes stranger songs than any songwriter ever could. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story. Hit that notification bell. More real-life dramas are coming. And in the corner of your screen, you'll find our other top stories. Click through. You won't be disappointed. This is Loretta Mae Johnson, signing off from Nashville. Keep singing your truth.